All right, YouTube, frogs, hello, how's it going? It is Bruised here again, this time with another build showcase thing, Bob. Anyway, here today with a staff-based Glacial Hammer. As you can see, I am playing with stick, level 94 Juggernaut. We're going on a journey of endurance stacking a little bit. We're just trying to get as many charges as we can. We're doing some crit stuff, of course. We got a bit of accuracy in there just by nature of being a Juggernaut. And this build has been really solid. It's been a really cruisy. It was a really cruisy leveling experience. Level 94 has been something that just I hit super quick. I'll probably still keep playing him, get another couple levels out of him here and there. But yeah, he's been a lot of fun to play, and has been. It's just crazy how tanky endurance charges make you this league in particular. Just as a quick, just kind of like gear show off, right? With what we're using replica abysses just for the huge increase to crit strike multi and all of the flat added damage, just in a lot of good damage there. But we increase our elemental damage taken by 40%. It doesn't matter with how the endurance charges are nowadays. It's crazy that this, like, usually when I put this thing on, I'm a little bit scared because I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna be taking more elemental damage. There's so many sources of elemental damage. Barely notice it. I've been tanking things like crazy. I literally just stand there and tank at pretty much any beams or anything. Like I've tanked just like Esh lightning bolts and everything. The bismuth tornadoes, doesn't matter. It's actually been really crazy. Also, I forgot to turn it off before I started the recording. So hey, you see that ship returned down there message? My sailors keep dying this league. That has been the one thing that I've learned this league, is that sailors leave me all the time. I keep losing them. So anytime I've been streaming, I've been having this message up, just in case, you know, somebody hadn't seen it, because I've heard a bunch of people say, I haven't even lost a sailor yet. So I went, you know what, here you go then. That's what it says. That's basically one of the things it can say when one of your crewmates either dies or leaves you and abandons you at port. So regardless, that's just something that's been happening. With that though, we'll kind of dive into the gear of the character. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take that back. You can skip ahead if you want. I'm gonna do a Sirus Kill. I think this is the first time I've killed Sirus on this guy, but I've done tier 17s, pretty much every other Pinnacle boss in the meantime. I've done a lot of content on this character besides this, so this should be a pretty clean kill overall. Also, if you're wondering where the shrines are coming from, I'm using the staff. Gain a random shrine buff every 10 seconds. I will reiterate it when I'm going over the gear. You don't need to use that mod. It just seemed like fun to use. It's a fun new toy. It was really expensive, but it was a fun new toy to use for this league with rune crafting. So now I'm using it. Hey, yeah, go away, Sirus. It's time. Man, what a fun league this has been, though. Ah! I will still die to die beams, as I don't have Corrupted Blood immunity. Right now, anyway. Look at that, 50% freeze is so stupid. Oh wait, where did he go? Oh, he's over here. Alright, I didn't rant very hard. I was just laughing too much. The 50% freeze change that they made so bosses can be 50% slowed is so funny with this build. You literally just watch them go in slow motion attack you. They just completely slow-mo attack, and it's actually hysterical. Look at that. That basic attack, he's literally phased. He couldn't do anything else before his basic attack came out, is how slow he was going. It's so funny. And even against a lot of other bosses, a lot of just like regular bosses can be fully frozen. Like Chayula, Breach Lords, some of the tier 17 like mini bosses, not the like main bosses, but the mini bosses that they spawn, they can be fully frozen. It's so funny. Yeah, you can see though, like once damage is ramped, like if the rage goes off with the Admiral's gloves, if my rage triggers, like damage is incredibly solid. This isn't some like 30 million Omega infinite boss killer, but it's very solid and does still incredibly good damage. And it's overall surprised me a lot, but this build has been just so much fun to put together. Too bad my speed thing is gonna run out right when he goes into this. Oh god. He's so slow with his diving. I hadn't seen that. Oh my god, his dive beam was so slow. It just bop, bop, bop. That was so funny. Oh man. Not even anything cool from him, but I mean, not that regular Sirus can really drop anything that cool anymore, but oh man, that's actually hysterical to me. He just literally gets nearly permanently just full slowed, and that's so funny. Okay, anyway, with that though, take another sip. With that though, let's go over the gear. Go over gear right quick. Yeah, so what I will say, again, this is to reiterate, and to kind of just start this off with the weapon as a whole, kind of what you should be looking for, where you should go with it. What I will say is that you probably do want to use an eventuality rod, mostly for the +1 power and +1 max endurance charges, as we are doing some endurance charge stacking with Juggernaut, but I will say you do not need to use a Shaper Elder. In fact, this thing barely has any Shaper Elder mods on it. Let's see. It literally has one. It's the Elder attack speed mod. That's it. I've tried to craft on this thing for a while, and it hasn't really worked out that well for me. It's an okay staff. It could be so much bigger with Elder Shaper, that I really haven't been able to roll on it. But there was a challenge related to using both a Conqueror Orb and an Awakener's Orb. So I just made this on the staff, and then basically just crafted this thing to where it is. And it's not anything crazy. This could be so much bigger, but it's just kind of at a place of it's good enough for now. And the other thing is that the random shrine buff every 10 seconds also not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Don't use it, I would say, because it's incredibly expensive. It's like 13 power runes. It's really, really expensive. I just happen to have a pretty good stockpile of money, and I actually had like 5 power runes, so I just decided I wanted to do something fun and added it. But I would say is if you're looking for a higher damage one, purely look for just an eventuality rod. Just try to max out as much physical damage as you can with it. The plus socketed of cold skill gem or of cold gems in general, I think is also really good because gem levels is very good for Glacial Hammer in general, and also would apply to Awaken Added Cold and Awaken Cold Pen. So I would say you could look for that as well, but otherwise just look for as much flat fizz as you possibly can, and some attack speed, some crit multi, some crit chance, just kind of generic staff things, but keep it with an eventuality rod. And then for your rune craft, you'll just want to craft, I believe it's just increased physical damage is a rune craft. So just craft that on top of the rod. Bingo bango, should be good to go. Like I said, so we have added cold damage, cold penetration, endurance charge on melee stun support. This gives us more damage per endurance charge, and also just gives us an endurance charge when we stun, which is pretty regularly. We have multi-strike, of course. We have awaken elemental damage with attacks. Just use regular until you can afford this, realistically. This is mostly so that you can become reflect immune. You will not be reflect immune until then. And Glacial Hammer of Shattering, and the only difference between Shattering and regular is regular gives you freeze enemies a lot more consistently, and you freeze enemies as though you deal a bunch more damage. With Shattering though, it's just a crit multi increase. I would say try to get yourself a level 21 version of this as well. I will be double corrupting this once it hits level 20. 21, 23 would actually be really good with it. Vol Glacial Hammer really does nothing, honestly. Vol Glacial Hammer is kind of a whatever skill, honestly. But yeah, that's the setup that we're going for. Have it in your staff, have it in your chest, whatever. If you made a staff like this, you could also have the gems in it affected by either inspiration or power charge on crit, or any number of other things with Shaper and Elder. So if you made a staff similar, but you just made it way bigger, then I think just keeping it in the staff is fine. But also, eventuality rods that are six length like this are really cheap, like 50C maybe. And with that, though, we'll go over to Replica Abysses here, like I was saying. So we have 40% increased elemental damage taken. You want to try to get one of those for that is perfect. It'll probably cost about a divine. This one cost about a divine, and it's not even anything spectacular. As you can see, the melee crit multiplier is only 104 out of 125. Like, everything on this is rolled pretty low, except for the increased elemental damage taken. But that's the most important one, honestly. If you could get one that's better, awesome, use that. But this cost about a divine at the time, and it's okay. It does what it needs to. I might look at the market again, maybe try to double corrupt this one if it ends up being better. Over here, though, we have Pandemonious. We get to blind enemies. We get to chill, reducing their action speed by 30%, which is then added up even more by when we're chilling enemies. So as you saw against Sirus there, incredibly slow. He was barely able to do anything before he got phased. And then also just the damage penetration against chilled enemies. Very, very good amulet. I'm 2% off on the elemental damage modifier. I just realized that, and for Roar, I need to deal with that. But yeah, just use Pandemonious. Pandemonious wasn't even expensive last I looked. The last I looked, it was 60, 80C, something like that. Ring-wise, we just have some generic rings here. We've got some intelligence for... I needed intelligence for... something. Skitterbots. And for the staff. Yes, the staff does need 117 intelligence, so I needed to roll some intelligence on rings. These rings are both okay. This ring could use to be a good bit better, and I'll probably try to roll it in the meantime. But yeah, try to put some accuracy, you know, whatever stats, whatever resistances you need. Flat added physical damage to attacks is really nice. Try to get some life. Increased elemental damage is good. Just, you know, fill whatever you need to. And then chest piece-wise, just a really thick royal plate. Just try to make this as big as you possibly can. Really just try to max out the amount of armor that you have, I think. I might try to make this one bigger as well, but it's not bad for what it is. The armor roll in the prefix slot is a bit bad, but again, it fills what it needs to fill, and that's the important thing. And yeah, otherwise, very quickly, well, actually, I'll talk items and then I'll go over sockets. So let's see, we got all that. Boot-wise, generic boots, increased damage per endurance charge, regenerate life per endurance charge. More endurance charge stuff, more gooder. Otherwise, just move speed, life, all that good stuff. Belt, same thing. I think I needed the need the dexterity for precision or hatred, I believe. Precision or hatred, I can almost guarantee, or maybe one of the awakened support gems over here. Regardless, need the dexterity here, so it has it along with just whatever else. You could min-max this by putting a Hunter Exalted Orb on it and trying to hit percent increased maximum life. That'd be another good way to improve this, but otherwise, completely fine. And last, we have Admiral's Arrogance here. Now this one, I actually double corrupted this, so I'm a little bit proud of it. I double corrupted this myself. Got really lucky, as you see. 4% increased max life, and attacks have 0.73 critical strike chance. Very good rolls on it. You don't need that kind of thing. You could just use a generic one, or you could use a rare pair of gloves if you can't afford one of these. But even, again, just something you still really want the +3 to level of all melee skill gems, because Glacial Hammer of Shattering scales really well with gem levels now. Most melee attacks do, with how they increase the added effect, with the attack damage and effectiveness of added damage. They really made those a lot bigger, and they made them scale with gem levels a lot more. So you want to try to squeeze in as many levels as you can. So Admiral's Arrogance, really, really good for that. It's a very solid glove overall. You just have a chance to gain your maximum rage. It gives you more attack speed, all that kind of good stuff. So just look for a generic, non-corrupted one. Maybe double corrupted if you want to try to get a little bit spicy with it. With that, we'll go over the rest of the gem links really quick. So I went over already what is in Glacial Hammer. So now we'll go over the rest. Frost Blank, Leap Slam, faster attacks, generic stuff like that. And I do have a brutality support that's just sitting here. It really serves no purpose other than whenever there is a map that I'm running that has elemental reflect on it, I put the brutality here, which then causes Frostblink to deal absolutely 0 damage, and it causes Leap Slam to only deal physical damage, so then I can actually do elemental reflect maps, because Glacial Hammer is also Ele Reflect immune with awakened attacks. So I just kind of have that as a bit of a tech option to flex in where need be. Boot-wise, we just have Assassin's Mark. We have Life Tap and Mark on Hit, of course. Just try to get the Assassin's Mark out, and Life Tap just because we might have enough mana for it right now, but it's expensive. It's just better to put it on Life Tap. It's much easier to manage that way. Over here, we've got Automation with Molten Shell and a more duration support here. I will be putting this Molten Shell... Actually, in fact, I think I'm ready to just put this over here now as is anyway. So we have a Molten Shell on Automation that is just going off, and then whenever we have all Molten Shell and we feel like we're about to take a big attack or a big damage, we can just pop that for some more damage reduction there. Very handy. I personally like Automation, I feel like, more than I like Cast when Damage Taken, because Cast when Damage Taken doesn't allow you to level the skill gem. You can't, you can level it a little bit, but then it becomes not worth it. And it also requires you to have taken the hit already to then just mitigate further hits. I feel like I just prefer Automation. Just occasionally having Molten Shell up and it just being in times where potentially I might need it, it'll just cycle through it and has it up. More duration, of course, increases that and helps it out a lot. And then you just have the Vol option as like oh, I know I'm about to take damage, pop this, and immediately reduce the amount of damage that you're taking. I think that's a better way to go about it. If you are somebody that likes Cast when Damage Taken, by all means, use that. Otherwise, and then in the chest piece here, we just have an Enlighten attached to Skitterbot's Precision and Hatred. Level 21 Precision, can't go wrong with that, it's a little bit more. Level 21 Hatred, again, can't go wrong with that, would be a little bit more. But I haven't corrupted this, but this I got unlucky with. It happens. And that's all as far as gems go. We can quickly go over the tree. What I will say is, as far as leveling goes, and as far as ascendancy order goes, personally, I went Undeniable first. I went Undeniable, and then Unflinching into Unyielding, and then into Unbreakable. Unyielding is where we're getting a lot of our increased damage per endurance charges and for stunning enemies, which is just nice. I believe the area of effect also applies to Tribal Fury, since we're splashing with our attacks with that. So overall, really good. I guess if you really were like, I don't like this node, I don't want to use this node, you could drop this, and I think you just put Unstoppable here instead, and you just go to cruising like that. I just think you'll miss out on a good bit of damage from Unyielding, but it might not be as much. Might not be that bad of an idea to take it. But otherwise, as you see here, kind of standard, I feel like, strike tree here that we have going on, especially with two-handers. We're going up here and taking Born to Fight. I have a tattoo here, which is just attack damage leached as life, because I did not have attack damage leech elsewhere. We have Unwavering here just for can't be stunned. And then we just have the rest of the good stuff here. Titanic Impacts for the big accuracy and crit multi with two-handers. We're coming down here through Golem's Blood, taking Disciple of the Unyielding for more damage per endurance charge and just minimum endurance charge. Never a bad thing. We have some crit over here. This node here, I was eventually going to take Wrecking Ball. I feel like Wrecking Ball is a really good wheel, but at the same time, I'm actually going to live respec this. I feel like just, again, more damage while at max endurance charges. We're almost always at max endurance charges. So I would say it kind of depends on how much you play the character. If you get this guy to like 97, 98, I would say probably just take Wrecking Ball and move out of this. Take Wrecking Ball over here at like 97 roughly. Or if you really wanted to lean into sockets more, you could do that. Just take a socket here, take a socket there. You could take in some more masteries. You have the like 40% increased damage with hits against rare and unique enemies, wouldn't be a bad one. Probably even just generic plus 30 max life, the plus 25 crit multi against unique enemies, all those things. Not a bad thing, and I would not fault you for taking that at all. But yeah, otherwise we have sort of generic stuff. We're taking Fortify, of course. We have Tribal Fury, which is just nice for strike skills. We got some Rage generation. Enemies are intimidated while you have Rage. More crit multi. We're coming up here, taking Smashing Strikes, go up through the top side of the tree, take Counterweight and Smashing Strikes for more crit multi, crit chance, and Endurance Charge. And then we go up here for more Endurance Charges. And I am taking the Forbidden Flesh and Flame for Crave the Slaughter. Crave the Slaughter is the Berserker node, which gives you attack speed per rage that you have, and also makes inherent rage loss a bit slower. So when I bought these were really cheap. These were maybe a divine a piece, maybe a little bit cheaper. Up to you if you wanted to use these, if you wanted to use something a bit more expensive. I personally just like them because we're always generating rage. We always have a good amount of rage, so, and the more attack speed that we have, the better it's going to feel naturally. Over here we have the large cluster jewel, Fuel the Fight, Martial, Prowess, and Weight Advantage. Fuel the Fight is for Mana Leech. Martial Prowess, just attack speed, accuracy, damage, all that good stuff. Weight Advantage gives you a chance to deal double damage with a staff, some strength, and just more damage. And then I have a Megalomaniac here that has Weight Advantage again and Blanketed Snow so that we can penetrate some more damage against those chilled enemies. Last but not least, we have a Watcher's Eye here. Attack speed while affected by precision, and penetrate, cold res while affected by hatred. I think this was like 2 divines when I bought it. Not terribly expensive. There are bigger ones. There is the crit multi while affected by precision. You probably still would want to stick to cold res while affected by hatred, but attack speed is not a bad secondary in my opinion. And I have Fangs of Frost over here, Anointing, which just penetrates more. Cold damage with attack skills as well. You could also put on Serpent Stance here. That's again just crit multi, gives you a bit chance to block and some crit chance. Chance to block though isn't really what we're building for with this character, so that really won't be that big of a deal. You will probably want the attack mana cost stuff as well. I actually don't think I need this small wheel anymore. Ever since I put the Enlighten on this character, it's felt a lot better. You know, now that I think about it, that's enough, right? Yeah, okay. Up to you. Go around this way to disemboweling, or go through this way and go to disemboweling. I think I'm gonna go around the long way right now. And with that, though, I think that's pretty much all I had for this character. Per usual, I will have the POB down in the description below, along with just kind of quick description, of course, and I'll try to throw in some notes. But overall, it's a very comfy character. It's a very good leveling character. It was so cruisy leveling with this guy. I literally started with Glacial Hammer at level 1, or level 2 technically. Literally started Glacial Hammer level 2 and just leveled the whole campaign with it, and it was incredibly comfortable. I used a staff even the entire time. I used nothing but just good gear, and it just cruised and crushed the entire campaign and felt really nice. It's a very, very solid build. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I hope all of you have been having a lot of fun with Settlers of Kalgur. And with that, though, I think that is where I will stop for now. I'll be back next time. I think the next video I have, it's either going to be about one character I'm in the middle of making, or it's going to be about a challenge that I'm potentially thinking about setting for myself that could be a bit of a meme and some good fun all at the same time. We will just have to wait and see. But otherwise, YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Again, really hope that you're enjoying Settlers of Kalgur. What an awesome league this has been, and it's just been so much fun. I've just been non-stop glued to playing this game, and I personally love it. Let me know if you have any questions. As always, happy to help where I can or answer whatever. Otherwise, YouTube, take care now. See you next time.